Good morning. Mark and I are heading down to Johnson City, and because you never know if you're going to find something, I thought I'd film this intro just in case. So can we find anything? I don't know, but let's find out. They've got jewelry. That's pretty cool. Oh, these are cute little flowers. How much are the necklaces? Are they priced? Okay, thank you. $2. Cute. Those are huge. Those feel like seeds. It's plastic. That could make some cool pendants. But you do have this issue here where you need to put some kind of dangle on there. Maybe a turquoise dangle or something, some kind of turquoise piece. I picked these up for when I make jewelry. These are $2 each, some kind of little, I don't know, relish dish or something. I thought they might be good for my larger beads. And then one of them I have to pass on because it has a big chip. Last week I made a necklace with a gold starfish. A starfish that was a lot bigger than this gold one. In fact, I have a blue one here too. However, we're not going to work with blue. We might work with gold, but what this video is about is the color. The color that's kind of a coral peach or coral pink color. I tried to find this color in my beads, and I didn't quite find the right beads. But guess what? And this is the Rags to Riches Appalachian Highlands Humane Society thrift store. That's where we are. $1.99 for the pins, brooches. This is their really cool looking jewelry section. Pretty neat. I don't know how much are their necklaces. Are they individually priced or?
About this cool piece.
Oh yeah. Mark just pointed this out. They're kind of big, but what's in style for sure. How much is it though? We need to ask. Would you mind, hon, checking out how much those are for me, please?
I wouldn't mind at all.
It's $1.99. Okay. That's the color I needed the other day. I think I'll do it for $1.99. Yellow and gray. I'm not sure I like that very much, but it's vintage. What do we got in here? Anybody named Kelly watching this video today? Some are more, but if they're not priced, I guess they're $1.99. Some bracelets, $29. And I found this necklace. It's crazy looking vintage beaded necklace. It's pretty close, not an exact match, but pretty close. But this video isn't about starfish, so I'm going to set this aside. It's about color, this color. And this color goes by a lot of different names. I'm calling it coral, but you might call it something else. In fact, have you ever thought about color trends crossing over from jewelry and clothing to home decor and even paint? I picked up this 2024 color collection brochure for Sherwin-Williams. Okay, here we go. I picked it up at Lowe's. Make sure you get the ones that says 2024. Let's take a look. First of all, you can see this color on the front cover. Is it coral? Is it peach? What do they call it? Here it is. They call it persimmon. Color of the year, persimmon. Here it is again, showing the entire room done up with what they call persimmon. And they're suggesting for coordinating colors to be a pearly white or cyberspace, which isn't quite black. It might actually look like the background here. It's kind of a very dark gray. Now, I'm not sure I want to do persimmon and cyberspace or gray black together in a necklace, because it probably would end up looking like it's a Halloween necklace, and that's not what I'm going for. But these brochures can be used for inspiration. Let's take a look at another one. This Color Trends 2024 is for Glidden. They chose a very, very pale pastel Palette Blush Beige. On the darker side, it's Cajun Spice. Let's look at one more. This one is Home Depot Bare Color Trends 2024. Color of the year, Cracked Pepper, a gray black. It almost looks like my background color. Theirs is a light rust or brownish orange, and they call it Orange Flambe. So you can see that the paint companies follow the same trends, color trends, as clothing and jewelry and home decor. So how did I do with this necklace? I think it matches best to this one here, the Sherwin-Williams, the color that they're calling Persimmon. It might be a little bit brighter, and of course it's a lot shinier, but it's a pretty close match to this color right here, Persimmon. So I'm looking to this for some inspiration. Persimmon and pearly white for starters. I'm not sure about the gray black, or what they call cyberspace. I could probably list this necklace on eBay and sell it just like it is. It's pretty cool, right? There's no branding on it, and I do believe it's vintage. When I say vintage, it could be the 1980s. But we're going to take it apart, see what we've got to work with, and see what beads we can work in. I'm not sure if I'm going to work the chain in or not, but for now I'm going to just set it aside. This is wired. You can see the two loops here. In fact, it looks like it's a double strand. Can you see that it's two loops here and two loops here? And they've put 2 crimp beads on each one. That's probably pretty smart for something this heavy. And they just simply flatten them. They're not crimped like we think about crimping with a crimping tool. And I'll tell you, most costume jewelry, most imported jewelry, vintage jewelry does not have bead caps over the crimping tubes. They just don't use them. And I highly doubt that anyone's going to say, oh, I love your necklace, except they forgot to put crimp beads over the crimp tube. Can you imagine? Of course, there's probably somebody out there that would say that, but for the most part, no. I don't think anybody's going to notice. Well, that came apart nice and easy. And let's put these in a little tray. And then all of these are like, goodness, they're almost like little earrings. Let's check this out.
Take me to the jungle. Teach me tiger law.
A large earring, but an earring nonetheless. It looks like a little snowman with a little doodad. The thing I'm going to do is take off this teardrop type bead. And if I didn't say, these are all plastic beads. Oh, there is a little bead cap on here, small bead cap. So this is what I have, and most of the beads look pretty good. They're light, they're pretty peach or persimmon color. Don't think I could sell these though. If I put in the title persimmon as the color, I think I'd have to go with coral. Yeah, I may very well be taking these apart, but for now I'm just going to leave them as is. Next, I'm trying to find pearly white. They have a whole bag of vintage beads, from tan to off-white to a little bit of everything in here. And I pulled out some beads to show you. I have these, not bad. So that's a possibility. I've got some of these to work with. And from my 2024 jewelry trending video, I have these beautiful faux pearls. They're nicely weighted. I believe they are glass, and they have a beautiful pearlescent finish. So let's take a look at these. Oh, that's a really nice match. I love the pearlescence on these. Just gorgeous. So those are a possibility. And then I have another bag here. Those are kind of cool. I have a couple of sizes of these. Again, vintage plastic beads. I like those too, and I like the shape of them. So I have all these options to work with. What's it going to be? What's your pick? When I put the coral beads with it, the persimmon beads, I'm just going to call them coral throughout the rest of this video. When I put the coral, they all look nice. I have to say, if I'm going to eliminate one out of the gate, it's going to be these. I think they go a little bit too yellow. They are out. Bye-bye to these. I'll have to wait for another project. So now I'm down to these. I don't have a lot of beads this shape. I do have a lot of the pearlescent beads, but it's round and round. So I think I'm going to go through this bag and see for sure how many of these I have to work with. It might be easier if I just dump them out. Oh no, I forgot it had all these little seed beads in here. Completely forgot about that. Oh well, it's done now. So it looks like I have some little pearls. Small round, pearls. Some of them go a different color. I'm not sure if these are all from one necklace. I highly doubt it. When I was taking apart a lot of vintage necklaces a while back, like a couple years ago, I was just merging different necklaces together. This gold one actually goes with another batch of beads. Does it? Yep. Well, I almost have to take these apart because I'm not going to do the dangles like they were before. And to do that, I need to take off a loop at one end. I'm going to go ahead and open it up like so. Can you see I opened it there? And then I'm going to cut it off, making sure it doesn't go flying. By doing that, I might possibly be able to use a head pin with the loop. This is what I have for the coral beads. I have a collection of jump rings here. I did have to throw one out. Well, now these pins that I thought I could reuse, look how crooked some of these are. I don't know if I'll reuse them or not. And then of course I have these beads. And I still have these. Maybe I can use them together. But I do like the shape. And they're just plastic and they do have some vintage wear on the ends. So what are we going to do with this? Any ideas? Well, we can make a necklace, we can make a bracelet, we can make earrings. I mean, truly, what else do we make when we're making jewelry, right? I'm not going to make a pin or a brooch. I still have these guys. Not sure if I'm going to work these in anywhere or not. That wasn't the plan. Bracelet. What do you think? Some 49 strand wire. I'm going to cut it at 11. Put a little clip on one end. Make sure it's on there good. I'm looking around my table to see what else I can work in. I used these the other day and I thought they were really pretty. Start with a small coral and then this textured bead and then another small coral. Well, let's set these guys aside. We don't want the table to get too busy here. And then I have some bead caps, some gold bead caps from another video that I made. Can't remember which one now. So let's try one of those. Off-white bead. And I think I have two sizes in here, so I have to make sure I get the right ones. Let's take a look at it. It's going to be a lot of these little coral beads in here. Now this one is a little bit larger than the first one that I used. I think I'm going to try to go with a smaller one again. I better jump these out. Oh, again, darn. I forgot there were little seed beads in that bunch. I'm just not interested in using the seed beads. I wanted to see how many different shapes and sizes I have of the bead caps. Oh my gosh, let me get this cleaned up and I'll be right back. Now maybe you can see what I mean by having two different types of bead caps. I have this one here that's larger. I'm going to put these together. In fact, I'm thinking now that maybe I should switch to the smaller ones on the smaller beads. I have two sizes. I don't want to run out of these. So I'm going to back up just a little bit and put the smaller ones around this off-white bead so that I don't run out and find myself short on the little bead caps. Again, I'm using some beads from vintage necklaces that I've already made videos of, and I only have so many left. That's the bottom line. I do not have an unlimited supply of these particular vintage beads. Let's go to another small brass gold tone bead cap. I'm wondering how many sizes of these do I have? It's always good to know what you've got to work with before you get too far in. Just checking to see if that's the same size. It looks like it is. So it looks like I have more of that size than the others. So I need to be mindful of that as I'm making it. I'm going to go with another small off-white. Almost has a hammered look to it, if that makes any sense. You wouldn't normally associate hammered look with vintage plastic beads, but it has an unusual shape. So that's what we've got so far. The colors are pretty. We're not halfway there yet. So I'm going to go with another small gold bead. With all these beads that I have, I think we're going to be making a couple of different pieces of jewelry today, not just this bracelet. So hang in here with me. And I think I'm ready to go slightly larger. I call that a medium size. But I'm going to stay with the smallest bead cap. No, I'm not. I'm going to go larger. Change my mind. That's the fun part. We can do that. When we are making jewelry, we can do whatever we want. Change our mind at any time. We don't have to answer to anyone. So now that we have 3 of the small gold, 2 of the small off-white, and then we went to a medium, I think it's time to go for a medium in the gold. And it doesn't need any bead caps. It's fine just like it is. And are we about halfway there? I'd say yes, we are there. So let's use the larger bead cap. And I don't know if I want to use the very largest bead here or the next size up. Oh, let's be bold. Let's go to the largest. Okay, if I bring this wire together, can you see here that I am beyond halfway? So maybe I misjudged on what step was next. I think I need to back off a little bit because I really want my focal point bead to be right here. Yeah, right there. So if we need our focal point bead to be right about there, so I'm going with the next size up, but I'm not going all the way to the largest bead. Now that's more like it. There's our focal point. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe. That didn't take long. My goodness, it's 10 inches long. We do not need a 10-inch long bracelet. So we're going to back off on both ends, keeping our clip on here. See what has to go. It's down to an 8-inch bracelet. I have a couple of tiny little 3mm gold-plated beads, and I need a couple of little crimp tubes. So many in here, and there's different sizes in here, so I have to be careful. Make sure I get the same size. I like that size better. I'm going to try to find another short one. All right, those are good. So let's go ahead and finish one end. Going to put the little 3mm little tiny bead, little tiny crimp tube, and let's find a clasp. I have a swivel lobster clasp, so I'm going to be attaching that directly to the end of the wire, threading that through, and then bringing it back through the crimp tube and the little gold-plated bead, and hopefully 2 of the beads. I'd like to get it through that gold bead too. Yes, got it. And because this is a swivel clasp, it's going to work really well just to wire right into that. So let's crimp that. Put the crimp tube in the center of your crimping tool. Crimp it, and then rotate it, and put it in the front part of the crimping tool, and crimp it, and turn it one more time, rotate it, and crimp it. Now let's give a tug, tugging on it really hard, and it is not pulling out, so it's good. And to cut off that tail, just use some nail trimmers and then push everything down. Push all the beads down. Okay. So there's our little swivel clasp. Let's put the little gold-plated bead and the crimp tube. Now I do not have a closed jump ring for this part. I wish I did. My closed jump ring is actually silver, not gold. So I have to make sure I pick a jump ring that will really close up well, and I think I have one here. We need it to close up really tight. We're going to thread this through, thread it through the crimp tube, small gold-plated bead, and we need to start snugging everything up. So I'm going to be pulling the wire through. Now pulling the wire, you can see it tightening up here. Give it a tug. Do a check, make sure that the beads are snug. I'm going to tighten this jump ring up right now. Wiggle it back and forth until it's as snug as it's going to be. Give a little pinch and then take the crimping tool. Again, I'm checking it one more time, and I'm allowing a little bit of wire here so that it has some movement. Okay, I'm going to crimp it, rotate it, put it in the first part, crimp it, one more rotation, crimp it. Now let's pull on it. It's not pulling out. It's good, because if it does, now's the time to fix that. Have a little bit of wire sticking out here. I can get to it though. There. So our bracelet is done. We can add some extension chain if we'd like, but let's put it on the bracelet cone and see what we've got here. Well, it turned out a little bit larger than I planned. It's about 8 inches with the clasp. So it's a little bit too big for me, but it might fit someone else. I'm not even going to add an extension chain. Bracelet done. Let's make a pair of earrings to coordinate. I have 2 head pins, 2 little gold-plated beads. I'm going to use these smaller off-white beads with the smallest bead cap.
If only I could finish something, run straight through to the end, close a chapter dignified. Dang girl, you did it again. But will it ever be enough when I'm bent on trying to keep it tough? Will I ever settle down?
I have 2 ear wires here. Bend it, right angle. Cut it back to about 1/4 of an inch. Make a loop. I just go ahead and put my ear wire in and close the loop.
If only I could build a tower, pierce right through the clouds, saxophones at every hour. Who hasn't
Cut the
heard
earrings and the bracelet. I'll put these together as a set, and you'll find a link for our eBay store in the description box below this video. What else can we make? I just can't seem to walk away without doing something to use up some more of these beads. So I'm going through some of my bead bowls for some beads that I used in other projects, and I like this. Got a couple of these. Some of them have some crystals on the end that I need to take off, but I think I'm going to try to work in something like this and some of the next size up of the coral beads, and then I have the pearlescent beads as well, the round pearlescent, and just a few bead caps, not many at all. I still have 2 different sizes, but not very many. All right, first thing I'm going to do is take the crystal off the end of here. We don't need that. Maybe I'll save those for another project, another day. I'm closing that loop back up, and I have part of a head pin on here I need to take off. I have some 49 strand wire. I have some small pearls, off-white pearls, bead cap, then a larger pearl, no bead cap. Good morning. It's the next day. And yes, I have my morning voice on because that's what it sounds like in the morning. I didn't get to finish last night. It was late and we needed to have some dinner. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to close the door and come back in the morning when you have to go run errands. So Mark is out running errands, and this is exactly where I left off. I'm still torn between making another bracelet or making a necklace. But as the beads get bigger, you know, bigger than these, I feel like I have no choice but to make it into a necklace. I am running out of the spacer beads, so that is an issue. I don't have a lot of gold components. I think I mentioned that yesterday. So yeah, I need to really think about where I'm going with this. And of course, whatever direction I go, I can ungo. I can undo it. Enough chatter this morning. Let's see here. When I introduced this piece yesterday, I was going to keep it linked like this, but now I think I'm going to take it apart and just put the beads through the wire. I don't even think you'll see the wire in between here. I just have to get it through the hole. The wire has a slight curve in it, and I'm actually having trouble getting it through the hole. I always love these filigree beads. I think they're so pretty. Let's go back to a pearl and then a bead cap. And I'm not sure that I want to get this large with the beads. Those are pretty big. So I'm going to stay with this size. Let's take another one of these apart. Cut off the wire that's between everything. I think we're getting close to where I can make a focal point, although if I look at this, this is my halfway point. I guess I'm not quite there. I'm still going to go with this. I have a couple more of these I can use too. Halfway point. Now if I'm going to put an accent bead, this is the place to do it. So do I want to go with another one of these, or do I want to work this in? Well, for something different. Or do I want to work these in for something different? What I'm seeing here is that I have a gap here. As this curves, there's a gap right here. I either need to change these beads or put something round next to this in between to eliminate this gap that's occurring. Do you see that? There's a gap as it curves. So I didn't anticipate that. So I need to either add a round bead on either side of this or eliminate these. Let me work with it and I'll be right back. From what I can see, the same thing is happening here. Even with these round beads, I can see the bottom of these. So these beads just aren't working out. I have to eliminate those. So that's something I learned that I'm sharing with you. So let me try again. This is much better. These beads just didn't work because of how large this flat area is on the top of the bead. This is what I'm going to go with. I think I've got it. And I still have a few beads left that I can work into making some earrings. Well, it's too short for a necklace now, isn't it? You know how I fell in love with these components recently? This chain that I've been taking apart? Well, I'm going to work it in again. Why not? I just need to open up some of the jump rings and separate it. I'm going for the round components. I have two connectors here. We need a couple of small beads, two crimp tube beads. Because I don't have a lot to work with here as far as the wire, I'm going to take this all the way down to the end, make sure it's secure, and push the beads down. Put on the small round bead and the crimp tube. Thread it through the connector. I'm not going to allow a very long tail this time. I need all the wire I can work with. Otherwise I would restring it. I'm just going to go through one bead. Get your crimping tool, put it in the middle, crimp it, turn it, put it in the first part of the crimping tool, crimp it again, turn it one more time, and crimp it again in the first part, but just don't overwork it. Do a tug on that. Okay, it's not coming out. That's a good thing. Thread it through a couple of beads. Now push these down. Make sure all the bead caps are tied against the beads. Again, I don't have a lot to work with here. It wasn't easy, but I got it here. Test is it going to pull out or not? Is it going to pull out? No, I'm good. Woohoo! That was a close call on that one. Wow, that was tight. I guess I just keep adding more beads than what I think I'm going to add when I cut the wire, and then I cut it short. So I'm going to have to work on that. There we go, but we need to add something else to it. I have this beautiful chain. Do you see it? It's textured. I love this chain. And I haven't used it for a little while. This is one of my earlier projects. It used to be a 5-strand chain. And I actually took this to a gold and silver shop to see if it happened to be gold. But it's not. It's not gold. But sometimes you never know. I found a bracelet, an unmarked bracelet in my jewelry stash that did not respond to a magnet, and I took it and had it checked, and here it was 18 karat gold. So you just never know. Now they have these fancy machines they can put things in and test them without having to cut into it. I'm hoping to get this done before Mark gets back home. He's bringing breakfast back. Really healthy breakfast from Hardee's. Yeah, he's bringing me Hardee's this morning. Sometimes it's just faster to cut the jump ring if you don't plan to use it. These are really nice jump rings on here, so I'm going to work with one of those to attach the chain. If it's big enough, I'm not sure if it is. See if I can attach some chain here and still get it closed. So I like the weight of these. Whenever you're working with a chain belt, the jump rings are a lot heavier. The metal is a lot heavier when it originally was a belt. All right, let's take a look at how long we want this to be. I typically make 20-inch necklaces, so I've got this right about 10. This focal point bead clasp to allow for 2. I'm going to go for this one. Now this chain actually is fairly soft. I was surprised by that. I'm just going to go ahead and close this up. Soft chain. I just want to make sure it's closed as good as I can. Has a natural twist. Here's another one of these nice jump rings. I really like the look of part chain, part beads. You'll probably see that again because I like that look. I have done plenty of necklaces with beads all the way around, and I'm sure I'll do more, but I just think adding the chain makes it a little more contemporary look versus beads all the way around. Let's find where we need to separate it. This chain link right here. I'm going to go ahead and close it up. Now we need a clasp. I have a 14mm lobster clasp. It's not just any lobster clasp, it's a swivel lobster clasp. I need a little larger jump ring for this. Let's take a look at it here. It has the color of the year, this coral color. Okay, let's make some earrings to go with it. 2 gold-plated head pins. And the little starfish, I decided to add a little pendant bail so that you can put on your own quarter chain. These will also be available in our eBay store. And all my handmade jewelry is free ship. So how many of you are going to stop by your local paint store for the 2024 color trends to see how well the paint color trends match up to 2024 fashion clothing and jewelry? Thanks for watching. I'm Vicki with Avante Jewelry, and Mark and I will see you soon.